Welcome, everybody, to our Sustainability Committee meeting. It is Wednesday, September 13th at 6:30 p.m. And glad to see everybody here tonight. And for those who are watching from wherever, first order of business is citizen comments. Do we have anybody sign up? Yes, okay.
Hi, so it came to my attention recently that there are a lot of these tear down, rebuild, tax incentivized projects going on. And, I have witnessed a lot of cases where the land is cleared of trees, including trees that are straddling neighboring properties. And, I never thought too much of it until it happened to me. And I'm like, oh, wow. So in digging, I saw that in a lot of these cases, it's like a single entity that has 15, 20 permits. And I'm wondering, can we slip some very simple, easy language in there, just saying that if there's foliage that spans across multiple properties, you should have to talk to the neighboring owner before you chop it down. And I don't want it to be like any kind of a criminal matter, but maybe just you run the risk of losing your incentive if you do this.
So what you're saying is the trees on the property line?
Or across on the other side. But, you know, by Texas state law, you can go all the way to the sky.
Right.
Basically, they hack off the branches
So if
and
they can't
destroy the
But
tree.
usually, in this case, we're talking about a company with a significant amount of money compared to a homeowner,
Right.
just tearing up their neighbor's property and doing nothing because the only recourse you have is a civil suit, which is kind of a big ask for a lot of our members of the community.
So there's a tree that was on their property, but the foliage extended over.
In my case, it was more than 5 foot on the other side of the property line. It was scraped to the ground, roots, flower beds, everything.
Man.
So, and I don't want to make it about me. I just, when I saw that there's like one entity that has more than 15 permits and another that has more than 10, I was like, oh gosh, this is probably happening everywhere.
Do we have any code or anything like that?
So we'll have to look at our economic development. They're the ones that facilitate the demo rebuild program. So Ted gave me a call earlier, kind of about this. So I'm going from the staff side, check that out, see what we can do.
We'll check it out.
Thank you.
Yeah, we can always have the,
And if there's something that needs to be done like polling or petitioning or whatever, I'd just like to know what should I be doing to contribute to this in a positive way.
Yeah, you want to be part of the answer.
Thank you.
Do we have any requirements for developers moving like older growth trees or?
there is a planning and zoning commission was looking at a tree preservation ordinance. I think that's still, I don't know if they voted on that yet, but that would potentially be something that would cover this.
How would we find out when that's coming up?
So, great question. Have to
It might be-
contact the board or the staff that are the liaison for that and get an idea, because that's something that from a sustainability perspective could.
There should be some
impact our-
crossover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's starting to work on getting all these trees out and then, oh, by the way, we're gonna take it down.
It's on a 100-year-old tree.
And the ones that survived Encore.
Oh, yeah,
by
Don't even
whatever
get-
custom bundle.
started on that.
That would be a good policy to have. If you're gonna clear, at least you have to plant new ones or something like that.
Well, isn't that part of Farming Branch Code? Don't we need a tree in the yard? I thought,
I don't know, we'd have to find out.
Yeah,
But
we
even,
can have someone though come maybe as a future agenda item on the tree preservation side. It would be slightly separate from the citizen comment 20.
but even still, the value lost from an 80-year-old live oak going down and you put in a 2-year-old whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big variation in what you're sacrificing as far as the value of the trees brings you.
I'm being very informal. Do we have anything in my board rules?
well, it's looking anywhere. Thanks for coming. You too, thank you.
Okay. All right, let's move on to our agenda items. First one, C1. Consider approving minutes for the August 9th, 2023 meeting and take appropriate action. Are there any comments about it? with price put together.
Right?
How am I doing? How am I doing?
What's the voting situation now that Soren has?
So as of right now, Price would be a voting member, and you would be alternate one for the day.
Moving on up.
Was everybody?
Or actually, no. Susan,
That's not here either.
so then you are a voting member today.
Who's not here?
Is that,
Well, she usually comes late, doesn't she? Or is she gonna be on today?
I didn't hear that part, that she was gonna.
She usually comes late.
Yeah, she usually comes late, so I'm gonna hold off on marking her after.
Well, we'll try to get all the voting in early.
so that I can vote?
That's right.
In that case, I move that, or I motion to approve the minutes. I second.
All right, motion has been approved, the minutes as is. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously there. Okay, C2 is receive a staff update on sustainability initiatives.
All right, so, some of you guys might know this already, but Soren, he has resigned from the committee. He was gonna be out for work. I think he missed the last meeting for work. He said he has a project ramping up, and then, they just had a baby, so he was, worried he wasn't gonna be able to commit the time, to kind of do justice to his position. So, he's resigned from the committee, so we will have an opening. They've opened the application, so if you have friends or neighbors or that are interested in joining the committee, have them go onto our websites on the boards and commissions page, and they can submit an application. The way that they fill the positions is until there's 3 vacancies on all the boards. They basically wait till there's 3 vacancies before they'll bring that to council. So there might be a little while there, where we just, only have 8 members. So in that case, alternate one, who's Price, will kind of move up and be a voting member. So, yes. So yeah, if you have Soren's number, feel free to give him a call and, thank him for all the work that he's done. He was vice chair for two years. So, totally understand, sad to lose him, but I appreciate that he, all that he did for the committee. Joseph. Yeah.
How does that work? Does Price take Soren's position and then the new person takes one of the alternate positions?
Typically, that's how it works. So the alternate one will move into one of the places, and then alternate 2 will become alternate 1, and then the new member will normally be alternate 2.
Right.
That's typically how it's been done.
No skip season.
Let's get to.
All right, thank you.
All right. Next Tuesday at the city council study session at 4 PM, Joseph is going to be presenting the biannual update to council. So our committee, all committees, I think, do their 2 updates to council per year.
That's gonna be awesome, by the way.
And you said what day?
Tuesday, the 19th, so next Tuesday.
Okay.
The study
4
session.
o'clock, not 3 o'clock.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're available, please come and support Joseph doing that update for the committee. At the last council meeting, council approved a fee to use the city-owned EV chargers. They had been, I guess, getting some complaints. People are using the chargers, it was for free. So they wanted to have a fee. They have that now. It's 20 cents per kilowatt hour with a $5 per hour overstay fee. So essentially, if you park there all day, your car is fully charged. After a 1 hour grace period, it starts to charge $5.
Wow.
And then when you're charging normal, it's 20 cents per kilowatt hour. So that is, that started yesterday, the fees on that. Landfill solar. So with the ERCOT energy conservation announcements that have been coming out, kind of a little bit of renewed interest from the media side on the landfill solar project. So our director Shane, who I think most of you have met, he did an interview for WFAA, I think on Thursday, and then Spectrum One News Monday. Yes, so we've been getting some media traction on that, so getting the word out there. As far as that project is concerned, we're still working on permits, getting that site platted so they can get building permits. The permits are supposed to be done by the end of the year. Construction would start probably February, with the system going online fall of 2024. So hopefully all continues to go smooth with that. Active transportation plan. Our consultant has been getting all the data from the comp plan, all the GIS maps, data on sidewalks, stops, traffic counts. And then they did some field work. So the other day they rode 17 miles on their bikes throughout the city, trying to kind of identify potential, routes, areas for bike lanes, all of these things. So they'll be kind of mapping some of their recommendations and starting to put that work together. And then I believe they'll present to the committee for feedback.
Which department is that, Alex?
This is the active transportation plan. Our department is the one that's working on it with, but it's a consultant that's doing it.
Oh, okay.
So. We have upcoming, our fall events are about to get started and we have volunteer opportunities for that. Saturday, September 23rd is our hazardous household waste collection event. It goes from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. So what we would normally do is have volunteers kind of do 2 shifts, a morning and an afternoon. So if you're interested in any of these, let me know. We also have our tree giveaway on October the 14th. Also on October 14th is the shredding event for the fall. And the last one, it's been brought up, communications committee wanting to do a tabling event. So we talked with parks and we can get a table for Halloween in the park. That's a little bit longer of an event. I think it's from 5 to 10 p.m. So we would probably either have to do shifts or be in for the long haul. For that one, we'll need commitments pretty soon just to make sure that we can, operate that table. We would supply everything. We wouldn't have staff there, but we'd get you all the equipment and everything beforehand, the table and chairs. We'll give you any sort of giveaways, flyers. So yeah, after the meeting, if you'll come up to me, if you're interested in any of these opportunities, just let me know. The tree giveaway, we'll be doing signups on September 28th at 12 p.m. So that went out in the water bill and it's also gonna go out on social media and e-news, telling people, hey, get ready for this. You'll log on to the website right at 12 and it'll be a mad dash to get all the trees. So hopefully, website doesn't crash and everyone can get a tree that wants one.
Yeah, that's 12 noon, isn't it?
12 noon, yes.
What's the date? I'm sorry.
September the 28th. I believe that's a Thursday.
Yeah.
So I would think that most of the trees will be claimed before 1, but like I'm sure with last year, we had people that forgot about it. We have extra trees at the event. So if someone goes to register, if you tell your friends or neighbors about it, they go to register and there's not one available, they can come to the event on the 14th as it concludes and get a tree if they have any leftovers. So.
How many
We're,
trees are you getting now?
what was that?
How many?
We're getting 203 different species. So it's an eastern redbud, cedar elm, and a black gum.
Is now planting trees, that doesn't require a permit, does it?
No, but we do, we'll probably have some information about call before you dig, the
Right,
811.
Yeah.
So that is, I believe, a state law.
Yeah,
To do the
sure.
call before you dig, just to make sure when you're planting a tree, you aren't hitting a gas line or anything like that. So, we'll have some handouts. We had that last year. Atmos gave us some handouts to give to people.
I apologize. Can you say that it was Eastern
Eastern redbud, cedar elm, and black gum.
Okay.
Let's see, we're in the process of applying for a LED retrofit grant through the State Energy Conservation Office, and that would be at the rec center for all the exterior lighting that's not LED at that site.
That's good.
So we'll be applying for that, and I think based on the requirements and, they're kind of favoring smaller cities on those, so I think we'll have a pretty good chance to get that. So we're in the process of applying for it. We'll submit the application, I believe, early next week.
That's through the state or federal?
That's through the state. I think it's trickled down from the federal money.
Right.
Looking at the requirements, I'm pretty sure that's how it is. A lot of the federal infrastructure and kind of those bills, that money's being funneled through these state energy conservation offices. And we've done grants through them in the past. The LED lighting at the Justice Center and our fleet EV chargers at the Justice Center and City Hall were also paid for through those grants. Water rebates, we've had 53 toilets we swapped out. So we have about half of our funds remaining on that program.
What happens to those funds if they don't get used?
So at the end of the fiscal year, the remaining money that we have is going to go towards multiple kind of projects and purchases. So we essentially kind of lose that. But at the start of the next fiscal year, we get that money that we've requested, as long as that's been allocated by council, which we're looking at, I think, the 10,000 for toilets and 10,000 for irrigation. We should receive that at the start of next fiscal year.
And
So
the
So we're gonna
fiscal
get
year-
another 10,000.
That's September 30th, yeah.
Alex, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I just wanted to know the end of the year.
Yes, so it'll start back over on October 1 and we've requested 20,000 for this next fiscal year.
So we get 10,000 for the toilets and 10,000 for irrigation.
That's correct.
Could we get like, 5,000, allocate 5,000 for the recirculating pump?
If we can, yeah, we can probably do that. We still have to do some research on that. Our building official has left, so that's who I was trying to vet some of the program details on that one through. So a little bit of patience on that. We'll launch the irrigation one first, and then hopefully we can get the recirculating one on that. If you find any other cities that are doing a similar program, if you could send that to me, that would be helpful while we're working on that.
Let me take a look.
Is there any kind of marketing push to get the water rebate for the toilet? Like,
We saw some pretty good results from putting in the utility bill. We did a more push on our e-news. So, but the utility bill, we had about, I think, 15 applications come in right after that. I think just given the kind of time of year, September, August, September, high water bills, it's a kind of a renewed interest for people.
sure.
But then as we I think if we launch the irrigation one, that'll kind of also do a push for, or more like if we do the Royal Flush branding
Yeah.
or whatever we can do on that to kind of get the word out. So for kind of people having to make a fairly substantial effort to, swap out a toilet, I think I actually have pretty decent participation. So I'm hoping that'll grow too as word of mouth. And Robert got a call the other day. Someone said that, yeah, this is the original toilet from 1964.
Oh, my goodness.
So, that was probably using about 6 gallons of flush and now it's using 1.28. So I think it's, I have some metrics I can pull up on the water savings annually, but
Alex, should we consider maybe raising the rebate to generate more interest?
that's a possibility. I think, if we start to kind of get a little bit more stagnant, that's something we can consider. But for now, I think it's just going to take a little while for people. Once they hear about it, it's probably not something that they're going to be like, oh, I'm going to, next day
Rush out and go
rush
do
out
it.
and buy a new toilet. So I think it's going to be a little bit of a slower, just an ongoing kind of a little bit more word of mouth.
More of a trickle instead of a flush.
There you go. That's on film forever.
That's why I kept it clean.
Our Power Switch program, our signups ended yesterday for that program. That was our fall Power Switch. So moving on from that, we'll do another one early next spring.
Did they get a rate?
The rate, I have not gotten it yet. We should be getting that. I don't have it in my inbox today. It should be probably.
I did, because I looked mine up. I think I must have signed like a 3-year deal, so mine doesn't expire until 2025. I mean, I can get out of it if it's up, but better came along, but
Yeah.
I still get through solar, but.
Actually, I might have misspoke. I think we get the rate on the 26th for that one.
Is that twice a year that goes out or?
We do it 3 times a
3
year on
times,
the Power
okay.
Switch. So kind of the switch window cover the entire year. So this one, I think it's like if your contract expired between September 26th and sometime in early 2024, then you would sign up for this program. If it expires in the spring or summer, you'll sign up for that.
Okay, good. That's great.
Our Lights Out campaign has kicked off. So we're in the peak migration season that goes from September 6th until October 29th. So I've got most of the signs out. The rest of them, I was hoping we get a little bit more rain because I was out there trying to push it through the hard ground last week. I feel like everyone driving by was just laughing at me struggling. So, but so we've got that campaign going with the signs, and then we'll have some information going out in the water bill, e-news and social media.
26th through the 28th? September 26th, October 28th?
September 6th to October 29th is that peak migration period. So the
Okay.
fall one actually is a lot longer than the spring.
Okay.
That is everything I have.
Do you have any update on the Kenwatt landfill open house?
On the open house, no, we have not received a date for that. We call Mike again tomorrow. It's weird that they're not giving that to us.
Lisa and I went last year and really enjoyed it.
Fascinating.
Seeing all that garbage out there.
Well, the birds was the one
Yeah, I
the
know.
hawks, there was I guess there were hawks. And like
Keep all.
bring them in, they like hire hawks to keep all the other birds away. Very cool.
Any other comments, questions for Alex? Thank you, Alex. Next agenda item is to please receive an update on the comprehensive plan.
Yes, so, let me know about the comprehensive plan, that just wrapped up fairly recently. I believe it was presented to council on August 1st. And there's a public hearing period for that as well. But what it was is, trying to get a 20-year plan together for the city. And a lot of it was also just kind of trying to wrap arms around the different plans that have already come about. So the east plan, the west plan, the I-35 corridor, all of those things, and kind of trying to wrap them up into one. It didn't focus on what you might consider like services, like schools, police, fire, things like that. It was really focused mostly on housing, economic development, mobility, and future land use. So that was really the focus of that. So one of the things, we got a special call out in the very beginning of it about the sustainability efforts of the city. So I think that was helpful in providing just kind of an overall framing for a lot of the work that followed. So like I said, a lot of it's on housing and economic development, which I don't see a ton of probably work for us. I think we might have to kind of figure out from staff and others where we might fit in. However, the mobility and the future land use, there was a lot around pedestrian friendly things like that, and bike lanes. And then also the future land use, there was a lot around parks. One of the top priorities after retail and after safety for the community was having these green spaces. So I think that that's also green spaces.
Okay.
So I think that that's a good sign, just that our community is invested in the parks and being a city in the parks. So I thought that was a good sign.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Is there any specific area that the city is going to be focusing on? I know 35 is the big artery.
Mhm.
Are there specific other areas that they're focusing on?
There are. So there's they categorized it by, I think you've heard of STEP. So it's like strengthen, transform, something, and then repurpose. But it's in here. So there's like Four Corners is one area that they were focused on. There was a lot of talk too about the west side and just how it was originally meant to be more industrial. But since it's been rezoned and this residential, and now there's a bit of a disconnect between what's there and what the community needs. And so there's focus on that. And also on the west side, there was talk about how the industrial area kind of butts up right against a lot of these new apartment complexes and things that are being built. So there's a lot of focus on, let's make this more cohesive. And let's kind of design it in a way that works for the community a little better. But there are target areas. They're towards the back of the plan. I'll pass this around if you want to see it, but
Is
I
that,
think that's actually where it is.
is that available on PDF as well through?
Yes, so it's on the website. So if you go to the website, they outline kind of the strategy that they took of community engagement and things like that. And then there's the plan itself too. It's lengthy, so fair warning about that, but
I'm curious about Beltline because, Addison is just taking Beltline to a whole new level. And we've got these old buildings over there. I wonder if there's anything in there. I'll read it up.
yeah, it's interesting reading too. So the approach that was interesting too, so the approach was to kind of take those 4 sections and then do an analysis of each one of them. And then from there, develop recommendations and then follow those recommendations up with strategies. So I think we'll probably work with you guys a lot in terms of like having the strategies, but like what tactics our committee might be able to fit into in terms of especially like the greening, the trails, and things like that.
I have a question.
Mhm.
Do you recall whether was there any discussion on the east side of Farmers Branch, like from Midway over to the tollway? Do I like commercial and businesses? Are they gonna keep it as is or try and bring more residential in here?
Like the I-35 area? Or the-
That'd be on the west side. Yeah.
They were talking about that.
Oh, what did I say? Yeah, Midway
Midway
Road.
through Midway Road.
All the way over to the toll.
Like from where we are over.
Yeah. So that was, I think that falls under the west side plan, maybe? Or is it the central?
It was the east side.
East side.
That's the far east.
Okay,
Yeah, so
okay, based on my cardinal direction. But yeah, there was, thank you. There was,
Hey.
a lot of talk about the industrial and the residential apartment complex, kind of how those are married.
And what about like north of Bellwood between like Central Farmers Branch, but like not, like Valley View is kind of where there's a lot of focus, but like kind of as you go further north towards Carrollton, it doesn't seem like there's, was there any discussion about that? I mean, I didn't really see any, so I don't
Yeah, there's
know.
there's a lot around mobility and like
Okay.
the arteries,
Mhm.
and what those look like. It was actually interesting too to note like the safety, and like areas of concern around some of the streets that we have and things like that, and how, improving the safety might make people more apt to use the things like the bike lanes that we have that are beautiful and lovely and, you don't see many people on.
When you
So-
say safety, do you mean like riding your bike or do you mean like,
Pedestrian and bike accidents, yeah. So they, in there, they map out kind of where those accidents happen.
accidents?
And then kind of areas, as areas of focus and ways to be more conducive to letting residents choose whatever type of travel they want. So whether it be walking, riding your bike, things like that, not just being so car centric.
And was there any discussion about, the speed, like, alternatives to just ticketing more and?
Yes, there was.
Traffic calming.
Traffic calming.
Traffic calming.
That's exactly what's in
strategy.
there. Yeah, so there were traffic calming, there's a number of recommendations that they put in there. There's everything from, right sizing the streets, because I did an analysis on like the number of cars that travel on a lot of these arteries and things like that. And then comparing that to, is that the most effective use? So for example, Valleywood actually, or Valley View has a lot less traffic than you might expect, or at least that I expected. And so there's talk about how can you right size that for the community? Because obviously there's a lot of lanes, but maybe we don't need that many lanes. So whether that's turning it to a bike lane or alternative parking, things like that. But yeah, there's a lot of recommendations around that. Traffic calming, thank you. It's not, and it's not a road diet. We don't
It's a
say
big-
road diets apparently anymore.
It's big in urbanism now, just calming the roads with incorporating roundabouts and bump outs and bollards and things because people are way more concerned about smashing up their car than they are running over somebody on a bike. You think I'm kidding?
I don't. I live right there where that crossing is at Josie and
Yeah.
Dolphin Green.
Mhm.
Not the one with the light, the one with the blinking. Oof, I've seen people get almost smashed there way too many times.
How is a roundabout calming? That like incites road. Because nobody knows which lane to be in.
It can be learned. If it's not, you learn how to do it. Anything.
So has it been accepted by the council or like what's the
That's what I'm
next
not
step
sure
process?
about.
Yeah, I think on that August first meeting, they
Okay.
adopted it.
Okay.
they adopted the whole, so everyone vote for it?
I don't know, I think so.
Lauren, is your role done now?
It is, yes. Yes.
Okay.
I know, I'm happy. I have another person who was on the committee as well here, so he can correct me on anything I got wrong.
You did a great summary. It's
Good.
terrific, yes.
But yes, so thanks for letting me be a part of it.
You did a
Did you
fantastic-
enjoy the
Thank you, Lauren.
experience?
It was a great learning experience.
Yeah.
I gotta say though, we're the best committee.
No bias.
No,
Right.
no.
All right, let's move on to C4, which is discuss trash and recycling web pages.
So I sent out an email, asking if everyone could take a few minutes to look at the website. This was from Shane. He had asked if we could have the committee kind of look at it. and provide feedback from a resident perspective. So if you want, I can pull it up here. And then if you have comments, I'm gonna be scribbling notes as fast as I can. So,
I think the dumpster, not the dumpster, the cans at the bottom of the page that show what's put in what, maybe at the top of the page, because you have to scroll down like 3 times to get to that on like a full-size computer.
okay.
And I think that not everybody's gonna do that.
Master deal. I'm getting.
And that game was so fun, although it was missing the food composting element.
Oh, big monitor, yeah, that's against our privacy, man.
So you're talking about these, moving these? to the-
Yeah,
Okay.
and, I don't know if you might want to do them like one on top of the other, make it a little bit fuller, I don't know, because it's just.
I would say overall, most of the pages, while they have the pertinent information, are not visually catchy, especially at the top. Like some of the catchy things are down at the bottom. And it almost needs to be reversed. And it's a lot of just script, and that is not appealing. I mean, I do like the calendar that automatically, once you put in your address, and it always tells you when your trash days are, but
The layout is not visually engaging.
And so if you went to like savedallaswater.com, that has a bunch of tiles with lots of bright pictures, and they're all subject related. Now, I don't know that our website has that capability to do that, but even on the very front page where it has those green discs, even if you had like a bunch of green discs with a little symbol in each of them. Yeah. And then one for, break it even further down into the sustainability, kind of make it a visual thing.
Okay.
And then the information probably on all these graphics, pictures up at top, maybe smaller pictures, because the big alarming ones are not helpful. I mean, like the Citizen Collection Center. It's a nice picture of the entrance, but it could be shrunk. And then you could also have a picture of the interior. And then for composting, you could have a picture of the actual bin so that they know what they're looking for when they drive in. But I think it needs to be more visually stimulating. And it would be cool if a lot of this information is in also a downloadable PDF. So you don't have to constantly go back to the website. You can print a handy little PDF or something.
Who creates all the content for the website, in general? Like,
It's kind of decentralized, so we have the ability to like edit some of the material, but I believe Communications has a contractor now that is about to start working on some revamps. So I think some of the department pages are a little bit newer and a little bit fresher. So I think that's part of the reason that Shane and with the timing had asked us to get some feedback, so. So it's kind of a mix. It's a little bit decentralized, but then we have someone that is overseeing and does the larger formatting.
One question is on our website, could we put down year to date or what gets recycled? How much are we recycling from these different avenues that we're using? Because, I don't think Dallas recycles.
I think they have.
Do they?
Yeah, they do.
Some
But
of
I don't know
the
if
other
they do.
cities don't.
Brush collection or brush composting. I don't know if they do that or if it's all landfill.
I think they just have bulk.
Okay, but yeah,
The reason I'm saying that is because at Verizon, they have this deal like, how many hours have we volunteered? And every time they just flash it and make you feel guilty if you're not volunteering.
So you're talking more like what the dashboard was supposed to be, which is kind of a running commentary on
Yeah.
accomplishments to date being incorporated.
Yeah,
Again, I think it just not just a text selection at the left. I like put a big picture of something of, fireworks or something.
Could we put the media that we're getting on like the solar farm and kind of the attaboy, attagirl
Yeah.
photos that we're getting on there?
I think that we should be able to do something like that. It might, maybe not the website, but like on YouTube or.
We can maybe put something on our project.
Yeah, on our
Where you
project.
have our projects listed.
Link out to the web pages.
Yeah.
That like, that would link to Channel 8 if they did the segment.
You could do a little price thing too, you know, hey, if you recycle or you're dedicated to recycling, you get an iPad or something like that.
A tree. A tree.
Or
There you
plants.
go.
Okay,
Or
alright.
something like that.
A new toilet.
New toilet. New throne.
I understand, I'm trying to sell
I mean, the reading is important and all the data, but again, most people on a website are visually based.
Mhm.
And they're gonna follow the pictures. And even like on the garbage cart, something as simple as that is maybe pictures of the different sizes of the garbage carts. Because when you talk about what's a 30 gallon, what's a 15 gallon, you know, and there's apparently two sizes on the recycling. And I don't know what
Do we simplify that one?
Well, I've linked, I've been working on trying, are you familiar with the FBTX to see click fix?
A lot of words.
That's the kind of the function, code, a lot of other departments use, like code uses it, probably the biggest user, but it's where you don't have to have an app, but we have where you want to go to that, you can show them from the main page, you can do a lot of different things when you go to submit a request. And it's got a lot of departments linked. You don't have to have an app, but you can put requests and you can report things.
Yeah.
It's heavy. So what I've done on this is we added, so we have we have been using for some of the trash. If you go down to. So on trash recycling, we've got some items there. And then we've also, so I added so we had some embedded forms on the website, which are real kind of cumbersome to use.
Mhm.
And what they would do, people could fill it out for specifically a cart. And then, but the form, all we got is the email. So we didn't have a way to track that other than if somebody emailed it to us, like if say we had questions back and forth. So what FBTX does is it allows us to have kind of that interaction and also track it. And when people have requests, we go in there and we can close it, we can get data from it. So other departments were using this and it's like, well, we should probably use this. So we added so we did have special pickup and Miss Brush on here already as a request. So weekly, we send, that's the report we get to our staff to go out and do those things. So we just added the trash and recycle cart request to this. And then we also added there were some other forms on the health side in regards to if you needed to report a concern either for a stormwater issue or, stagnant water, those kind of things. And then also we had a form for foodborne illness. So we just put those forms in here. That way we're all kind of using the same system. So the areas where we had the forms on the site will now link back to this.
Right.
We feel like we can use this. It's fairly user friendly. You don't have to have the app. You can go in and make a request just from the website. But if you have the app, it's great in that you can, if we wanted to go back and forth, say if you had questions, it's a way for us to communicate with residents. So I think it's a good tool for us to have. So we'll see how that works.
I think that's excellent to have a centralized place where you can request. So my thing would be, okay, I'm looking at that and when I click on the garbage carts and everything, which is basically just a question and answer page, which doesn't really tell me what are the different sizes that I could get hold of. And again, maybe I just need a picture of a person standing next to whatever is a 30 gallon. And then I'm like, oh, that's the one I want. And there's the link to go request it, which immediately takes you to this.
Yeah, what this will do is you put your request in here and then we have basically a list of the different types of services. So it's either replace a cart, new cart, whatever, you click on a checkbox and then you submit your stuff and then we get it. So it's fairly easy to do. But I agree with you guys. There's too many clicks, and that's just kind of the nature of the site in general.
Mhm.
And that's why I think the city's trying to
You go back up
update it.
to the top, because so like right there, that breadcrumb trail, your home, governments, department, sustainability, solid waste, that's like
It's a lot of
4
clicks.
clicks.
Yeah.
So
it's a
where
lot.
You're trying to
A
go.
lot going on.
And this takes this information in the calendar takes up way too much of the page. Like it should be much smaller.
It's almost like it needs to be.
Yeah, and like once you type in an address, it.
Yeah,
completely
like
pulls
this
up.
is great, but it needs to be smaller. Or maybe the stuff at the bottom needs to go to the top or something.
Okay.
Cause see, that's important information,
Super important, but
but you know, once
Well,
they
look,
get to
if you
the,
go to the cart one, go to the left side, go to your garbage carts. So we originally had this FAQ
Mhm.
and then we had it split. So you had an FAQ side, kind of like, and then we had, the other side was the form.
Mhm.
So what we've done now, so now you have all the FAQs and see you have the FBTX at the top. So if you need to do the request, you click on that, that takes you back to where we did that whole request form. So,
Right.
but I like this where we can see the FAQs a lot better.
yeah,
So maybe even do something like that where you can, so instead of getting right to the calendar, maybe have just reverse it maybe, or create another page for it. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's the only bad thing is when you start adding pages, it just gets
Too much. Yeah.
it's too much.
absolutely.
No, it's a fine line to get the information and also make it visually appealing.
Right. And I will tell you, our department has a lot of information, the health side, the environmental side. Some of it we're required to put up there on that side. Like our stormwater plan has to be put in there and things like, it's a lot of dry material.
Mhm.
So that's really hard to make that touchy feely. Coming from the Parks and Rec side, this is a lot more drier material, but it's stuff we have to put out there. So I don't know. I'm hoping the new consultant will be able to kind of,
Even if you could do like a funny way of doing it, like the nuts and bolts or something, where it's its own tile, where it's like all the really dry, dense information for people who are digging into that more, and the other people, and then the other tiles are like, just like the quick. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's definitely a challenge.
There's the GUR animal side and then there's the geek squad.
When I emailed y'all, I purposely didn't put in the web URL. How did everyone find it? Do you go straight to the Farmers Branch TX.gov or did you do Google Farmers Branch trash or something like that?
I went through
I
the
went
city.
I went to the website and just Google, and put the trash in the.
So like you use the little search bar up there?
Yeah, I'm looking
Okay.
for, I clicked on the.
I did the little circle icon.
Okay, so you went basically straight to the website and then right with Google. And did it work pretty well?
Mhm,
Okay.
yeah. I do that with my work website at work too, so I don't know that it's specific to you guys.
Robert, I would find it easier on this garbage cart FAQs. You had the question on the left with the answer on the right, rather than going on the back.
underneath, that's.
So you're more stack everything.
Yeah.
Well, and a lot of them just have the question, and then you can click on the question and it shows you the answer.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's kind of more
reduces-
compact.
So you get more.
So that way you're not,
Read everything.
right.
Yeah.
Is that?
You could also, you have redundancy of mentioning the word question and answer everywhere. If you can eliminate some of that, you open up more white space.
Maybe just Q&A.
And so the shredding event has its own little thing. Are we gonna start incorporating other events like that seem to be recurring? Or maybe we just have sustainability events and we list all the shredding, the tree giveaway, the toilet rebate. I mean,
Yeah, that could be something that's a little bit, we could potentially group it together, because we have the Camelot landfill tour, shredding event, household hazardous waste. And then we also have ones for the trees, but it's just kind of the weird thing I always joke our department is the catch-all of everything.
Yeah.
So we have all these different ones, and so they kind of find what it might be, so we have water conservation. And then here's trees, for example, so
And
this is where the registration link will be provided.
the toilets,
Toilets, already.
water conservation, okay.
And so this one has it within the website too.
See, but you would need to know that.
Yeah,
So you may put underneath that water conservation, it was in parentheses, toilet program.
I guess if they put it in the search to the top, it'll pop up.
Yeah.
yeah, I think so. But yeah, that was one of
I
the
think
things.
that's
I
the way
had.
I found it.
Unless you make the tree on the left even more detailed and show the sub.
So the search worked on that one. Good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a little bit of a search.
Yeah,
You kind of want them to click and find.
click on the happy toilet icon.
Toilet.
It runs.
And when it turns the page, it has the sound effect of that can totally be done, you know that.
It may not be in our budget.
Well,
last question I'll have on
The sound
this
effect.
is experience living in other cities on, like, when you were looking at their website, are there any like ones that you looked at or maybe have lived in, or you're like, oh, they did a great job, that we should maybe like kind of look to model after?
I'm just laughing because Chicago's was really difficult.
Only time I ever lived in another city, I don't think websites were a thing.
Yeah.
You were saying what, Dallas, the Dallas water?
Dallas Water,
The Save
Dallas
Water,
Save.
yeah, that one's really good.
yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, they really.
DallasSavesWater.com. And it's all about water conservation. No, sorry, SaveDallasWater.com. That's what it is.
Does the city do that one? Or
Dallas Water Utility.
utility? Okay.
Yes. Yeah, so Save Dallas Water. And they constantly have programs running all the time. So, and they seem to partner with some other entities that do educational events, so.
We've got some work to do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Robert. Thank you, Alex. Next agenda item C5, receiving subcommittee updates, built natural environment.
We don't have much of an update. I don't know, next, we need to get together on next steps from our composting plan.
Yes, and I have access now to our planning software. I haven't had a ton of time to dig into it.
Okay.
So once I'm gonna try and get into that early next week. Go through it, and I was gonna reach out to the subcommittee and kind of say, like, here are the questions that you provided. As far as kind of like the logic goes or the order of what we can actually do with that.
Okay,
So I'm hopeful I'll be able to provide some information so y'all can move forward with that.
yeah, because I think that's
Yeah,
literally
I
the
know,
first
I'm
step,
holding, I'm
so
holding you up.
that's, well, when you're ready, we'll be ready.
Thank you. How about communications?
No updates at this time, although I would like to request, or I'm not really sure how to move forward. I watched the city council meeting about the budget. And I noticed the fee structure that will be implemented regarding trash pickup. There's gonna be some blowback for that, and I don't know if there's any way we can help Public Works support communicating that to the residents, easing the blow, providing some kind of, I don't know, backup. Probably something we should all,
They're gonna start charging, so that they can charge for the cart that they throw across the street.
I mean, it's
And all
for
the
the
trash
land,
they
it's for
leave?
the landfill remediation, I mean, like the landfill closure and monitoring fund, which we're required by the law to have a certain amount of money in the coffers to do that. I mean, we have to do it, and this wasn't gonna be free forever. I don't know any person who thought that was reality, and it's a very nominal amount.
Yeah, it's
Based on-
$5. It's starting, I think, October 1st, 2024.
Yeah,
It'll be $5 a month and then $2.50 for seniors. And if you're on the west side of 35 where you only get once a week, it's $2.50, I think.
You said that's a year from now?
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not this October.
No.
No.
Do you qualify as a senior at 65 or?
I think it's however it works with the county, the appraisal district.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's how they're classifying it.
I get it, see this.
I mean, it's like, if you watch the video, there was a very lengthy conversation about this. And if you were around when they introduced the recycling carts, that was a circus. I mean, it was a big deal. And since garbage is kind of part of our thing, I feel like there's an opportunity here to be a part of making this transition palatable, because there's gonna be a lot of people that are residents specifically, and I mean, we're all engaged in the community, and I don't know that everyone here at this table, I mean, I didn't know that this was a part of the foreseeable future until I watched that video.
Yeah, and I think part of the reason they're delaying it so much is to get that word
Right.
out about it and everything, so.
So, I mean, like I said, I don't know if we can reach out to Public Works and ask them if there's any kind of supportive role that we can play in this to help, you know.
When you say, I mean, but you're talking about, because that's our department that deals with all this stuff, so the trash.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was who's the guy with the glasses, the landfill guy? Shane, is that Shane?
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's our department.
He's our.
But he's still, oh, okay.
Yeah, so we manage the contract with CWD,
Mhm.
and then we have the brush and bulk guys are all in our department, so, I think, I think the reason they delayed it, approval, was to be able to take this year to get the residents all on board with the why, and there's gonna be a big education. We haven't gotten any direction from management staff on how they wanna approach the education on that, so.
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be a bigger push this time next year before the fee gets implemented, probably over the summer. I'm giving reasons why, like you were listening to at the meeting, because of the landfill closure and different things like that. So I think there was no way we could have implemented it October 1st this year.
Sure.
The way we got it kind of late in the game, so, so we'll see, and yes, but I think, I don't know if that's something we can even put on a committee meeting to even
Well,
at
okay,
least
well,
keep you guys up
yeah, I
to
mean,
date on
if
what
there's
we're
anything
doing.
we can
Yeah.
help do to support
Sure.
this department, since this is kind of part of
Yeah,
what we've been talking about, I think that we have an opportunity to.
I think we were surprised that it was something council was gonna support, to be honest, because Shane had let us know that it's been discussed in the past, and it's just not something that was on the radar until recently.
Yeah.
So, but, I think, like you're saying, fear of what's gonna happen with the landfill, they're just being very proactive about it, so.
Roger, do you have any idea how much revenues this will generate for these fees?
I know finance has an idea because we know how many homes and they've got calculated what revenue it's gonna take, once they implement the fee. So, I think between what revenues, and I think they're looking at a kind of a graduated, so it starts out at $5, could graduate, have increases over certain periods of time. So I don't think it's gonna be $5 and $2.50 forever. I think it's gonna be something that'll be, I know right now I live in Denton, I pay, I think, $27 a month for trash. So I'm not saying we'll get to that, but I think at some point it's gonna be incrementally. I think that was the fear of, you don't wanna get to year 25 and all of a sudden we're gonna slap everybody with a $25 to $30 per month fee. So I think that the goal is, okay, we're gonna start at 5, and every 5 years or something, we're gonna increase it so much, and then, by the time we are closing it, we'll be pretty similar to what other fees in other cities, what they're charging. So, and then we'll be ready to, and I think there's discussion too about what are we gonna do for landfill? And so I think those are some discussions, I think Shane and the management staff are having. So I don't know if that's, when they bought the property in Louisville, that was, 50 years ago when all that happened. And so there was lots of forethought for that. So the hard part is now you have to go so far out, does it make it financially feasible to buy land, say, in, I don't know, up north by Sherman or something for another landfill, and then all of a sudden, we gotta truck it up there and truck it back. It just gets to be, so those are some long-term, very high-level discussions that are gonna have to be made, so.
Well, the cost of the trash is going to go up too.
Right.
I mean, the balance has to be, should we pay somebody or should we truck it over there?
Right.
Because it, as, especially the north, the way it's going, Salina and all these places, nobody's gonna want a
Massive
dump
dump
over there.
facility.
Yeah, because it's like straight up,
Yeah,
right where the tollway ends. They're probably gonna start expanding that pretty soon.
yeah, absolutely. This is growing, the North Texas is the fastest growing in the country.
I think the thing that helps us from my conversations with Shane have been, that we do have, Texas does have a lot of land compared to other parts of the country. So that's good in a way that we have options where other places don't, because places, I guess, more urbanized, west or east coast, I mean, they're having to ship theirs off other places because they just don't know where to take it. So, we're not quite there yet. More to come.
More to come. Well, and also if there's any opportunity for, again, helping to extend the life of the landfill that we might help collaborate on, that'd be nice.
Thank you, communications.
Mhm.
Yes. All right, how about water conservation?
Okay, so I was really thrilled when the mayor, John, replaced him for yeah, sustainability. But Price and I talked about, one of the other things that we can recommend, for water conservation is the daily monitoring of water usage by each individual. There are always software that's available when the whole AMI system is deployed, that you can find out. What's the advantage of having something like that? Is you can detect a leak, unusual amount of water that's being used. You don't have to wait for the month to end, so you know. So, and then also, it'll have a flag. It has the algorithm where it will have a flag saying there could be an intermittent leak over here. So you can save. I remember in Garland, I had a leak. I didn't know for about a month and a half. We were doing like 1,000 gallons a day. And my water bill went from $40 to $100 very quickly. So that's something that would help people, especially one of the corridors over here. There's a lot of issues with foundations. So that's something that we want to explore. I cannot give you a commitment when I'm going to make a presentation, but it'll be a good presentation. Just another thought, Joseph, question. Could we get a vendor who does that to come in here and talk about it?
About the AMI meters.
It's not the AMI we're doing right now, but this is an application that integrates with the AMI.
We can, yeah, let me talk with our public works and see if we can find someone that could come in and talk about that.
I can have somebody come in. I don't want the public works to bias our decision portion, or I can present it myself.
Sure. We'll talk about it. We'll get someone to present.
Okay.
Okay, next agenda item C6, receive an update from committee members on activities attended.
Everyone's looking at Lisa.
I didn't attend anything. I just watched the city council meeting online because I couldn't go about the budget and the comprehensive plan. But that's it. I don't think I've done anything else.
You've been plenty.
Can't remember. I feel like I did, but I can't remember. It can't be a good thing.
It's worse. I know, I'm trying to think, it's like, did I go somewhere? Did I go?
No, have I done anything this month?
What were some of the events going on last month? That's my trying to think
It's
first.
just too hot to do anything.
Yeah, so hot. I just stayed in my house, so.
Well, maybe we talk about upcoming events. Suzette, don't you have something?
Yes, at North Lake on November first, Dallas College Dallas College is having its 13th Sustainability Summit. It's free and open to the public. It's a day at North Lake with workshops and speakers and, all based on sustainability, not only just what we're doing on our campuses, but more what's available out.
Broadly.
Yeah, broadly, yeah. It's my name. So we sent, I think Alex sent yesterday or day before, the link if you want to sign up. I hope some of you will attend. I think it will be quite interesting.
And what day is it again?
November first.
Do you know what? day of the-
November first. That is, I don't know what day of the week it is. Let me look at it.
Yeah,
Wednesday.
Wednesday. Middle of the week, 8 to 4,
8 to 4.
and lunch is provided. But you do have to RSVP. I plan on attending. I think
I'll
Alex
be
is
there.
going.
Does it have a list
Ted's
of
going.
the speakers and
I
the,
think so on that.
okay,
Yeah,
because I couldn't go the whole day, but I could come for some.
yeah.
That sounds very exciting.
Yeah, I will, because it's free. That's, free and Kurt, yeah. That's all I have.
C7 is discuss agenda items for future sustainability committee meetings.
I think next month we'll have someone from Parks. I know that's been some of what we talked about with grow zones and some of the water conservation efforts within our parks. So talk with their staff. So we should have someone at our next meeting from Parks Department. I think that was on the list, so.
Cool.
I'm curious about the zoning for the housing and stuff. Is there any requirement for like affordable housing, like more price conscious? Especially in like the multi-family units?
Yeah, there was, in that comprehensive plan, they have, they talk a little bit about that as well as like the missing middle. How there's a lot of, there's a need for like duplexes or maybe
Right.
townhouses.
Because, doesn't the current code say that the minimum square footage has to be something like insane?
I'm sure what
2,700 square feet for new builds? What?
I couldn't see that.
But
Yeah.
there's also one thing that you might be interested, there's,
That's what Tina told me.
recommendation, it's a big house, a recommendation that, they develop a land trust type, thing. So I thought that was super interesting, to hear about that as a potential idea to explore.
And you said this is available in the PDF
Mhm.
download.
Yeah.
There's,
Light reading.
A little.
I think there's a big movement in the city because a lot of these custom builders and developers want to develop high-priced stuff.
Sure.
And I think that there are people who are looking for builders who are medium-priced builders like Drees and Ashton Woods and things like that. So there's definitely a movement where people are not just like, they can't just afford the stuff that's being built.
Yeah. But I would be curious to know if we have like any actual rules, guidelines, codes.
Well,
Because, I mean, part of sustainability is like sustainable housing.
right,
For
sustainable housing
everyone,
and
equitable.
high density housing leads to more sustainability just because of delivering resources, so.
These bigger, more expensive properties go up. Those of us who have been here for a very long time, our property taxes also go up. And
Yeah.
we're, I mean,
No, I think it'll be good. We can get like a speaker from our planning department and talk about that. I know that they had, someone at city council, this was probably 2 years ago, on new urbanism. It was like the chairperson of the Congress for New Urbanism. And they talked about a lot of these principles, and that was kind of a kickoff within the comprehensive plan. So, I think that'd be a good discussion to have at a future meeting.
I think that'd be excellent, because I think it impacts so many people who are landlocked in their homes, who can't afford to move.
Go someplace else, yeah.
If I could jump in on that, I was the person responsible for bringing the executive director or president, whatever his official title was, Rick Cole, from the Congress for New Urbanism here when we did that presentation. And it was on a Saturday, and it was exceptionally well attended. All of the council was there, lots of other people, and just people from the public. And they had to keep, it was in the hub room, you know, where we were meeting for the comprehensive plan. And they had to keep bringing chairs in, and they were standing room only. But that's an excellent group. And at that time, I talked with the city, and we were not members of it as a city. And I got them to join that, and I attended their conference that year. If I was still in council, I'd be doing it again. But so the city should be members of the Council for New Urbanism. And I guess I coordinated that with, I don't know if it's Tina or Sarupa, but I mean, they're not here now, but someone should know that.
Other discussion? Well, if there's no discussion, is there somebody wants to make a motion to adjourn our meeting? So moved. Okay. Second?
I'll second that.
No, you can't second that.
Oh, that's right. You usurped my power.
I second. I'll second. All right, thank you, Shelley. All in favor? This meeting is adjourned at 7:37. I'm sorry there, Lisa.
That's okay, that's okay.